Hi, my name is Sean Edwards, and I'm the developer of Lunar. Now, I'm expecting a lot of people to have quite a lot of difficulty with the game. It is quite challenging, and I thought what better way to help with that than to make a little tutorial video. So, the first thing I'm going to recommend doing is if you press the start button on your left hand, you can bring up the main menu, and there's a couple of things to pay attention to in here. Particularly in the controls menu, you'll see a controls guide here, and what I'm expecting a lot of people to have difficulty with or not know what to do is to use the analog sticks. So if you look at this control guide right here, it says your RCS jets. Now that will change your facing direction in the Lunar module, and then on the left side you have the translation jets, and those are responsible for moving forward, back, left and right, or strafing. So the actual HOTAS controls, the stick only controls the pitching and the rolling, so pitching forward, pitching backward, rolling left and right. And the main thruster is your main thrust to go up and down. Interestingly, with the main thrust, if you pull the trigger while it's held, it'll actually invert and it'll fire the RCS jets on the top of the Lunar module, and they'll actually make you go down. And I'll demonstrate the using of these. Also note that you can't use these controls unless you actually have your hands on the sticks or the controllers. Now, a couple other things that I recommend doing when you first start out is in the settings menu down here in game, you'll find some difficulty options, and there's one here called auto leveling. That one in particular is very useful, and I'll explain why that is in a moment. Obviously, unlimited fuel would be also useful, but you'll notice it says minus 30%, minus 20%, and change the skill modifier down here. What that means is your final score from completing missions is multiplied against this percentage. So by using these, you'll earn less money from your missions. Okay, so let's get started. Now, you press the power button over here to turn things on. Now, I can refuel like this. I'm just going to reposition. There we are. Okay, so to start missions, we press the missions tab over here, and we'll find a variety of missions here. Usually each base will have a different set of randomly generated missions. I'm just going to go with a standard transport mission. It says here that I'm going to take 4,000 cargo to Bravo, so I'll accept that. Now there's a convenience button here called select navigation, which will automatically select Bravo base, which is the one over there, but I can also use the navigation computer over here and select Bravo here. So I'll just demonstrate. If it's on Alpha, I hit select nav. Now it's selected, and you'll see that the heading indicator here is pointing over in that direction. We can see that it's selected. Alright, so now one thing to also check is the cargo has a weight, which is 4,000 units, and this thing called LOPTW, or lift off power to weight. This is a guide that tells you how much power you're going to need with your main thruster to neutralize gravity. So because we're carrying 4,000 units, we'll need 45.5% power to get off the ground. And you'll notice here it says level 1, level 2, level 3, and these are the upgraded levels of your engine that you'll need to use if you've upgraded. So if we go to system here, it says here that we have, on the upgrade section, we're currently level 1 on these. So I've actually already upgraded this ship, so I need to use the level 1 setting for 4,000, which is 35. So power up to 35%. Or 36, that's okay. Now over here you'll notice there's a label that says V rate. Now this is my vertical velocity going up and down, and it's starting to climb, and my radar altitude is also climbing up. So if I were to bring that thrust down to exactly 35, it should stabilize my velocity, and my V rate should stop climbing. It should stabilize. Now, as I mentioned before, on the right hand, if you use the translation jets, I can, or actually, let's start with the right hand. This controls my yaw facing. So if I grab the stick and just push left on the right analog stick, you'll see that I'm changing my facing direction to face the direction I want to point. Now, because I have auto leveling on, if I let go of the controls, it'll automatically align itself with my velocity vector. Since I was going straight up, it's chosen that angle. But if I just move back a little bit, I'm using the backward thruster. The back RCS is pushing me back. Now I let go. The lunar module will align itself with my velocity. That little circle that's floating outside is actually my velocity vector indicator, showing me where I'm actually going to go. So you'll see that it's stabilized now. I've sort of stabilized the velocity, and you'll see it climb as I increase thrust or decrease thrust. And I can basically steer the velocity vector using the RCS thruster. You can see me doing that there. And this camera above me, which is a velocity camera, it actually points in the direction that my velocity is heading. So I can more or less just steer the velocity vector towards the base, let it go, and the auto alignment will align me with the base. So now it's just a matter of trucking all the way to the base. Off we go. Now I'm holding forwards up on the left hand RCS controller, the translation controller, and this is increasing my velocity rate here, my magnitude, if you understand what magnitude is. My V rate is actually going down a little bit, so I'll just bring the thrust up to compensate for that. Keep it above that hill that's directly in front of me. There we go, we locked right on 35, and the V rate will stabilize at minus 12 units per second. These units are all in meters per second, so that's 12 centimeters in the negative. So down here I've got a distance to the destination. We're dialed in. Up here you can actually change some of the modes of the display, the overhead display, and you can even close the display if you're so inclined. We'll open that back up because it's quite useful to have open. So now that I'm getting close to the base, I'm going to start backing off. So I'm pulling back on the RCS thruster on my hand here, and you'll see my V rate's coming back down. So my velocity here, my magnitude is coming down. So I'm actually slowing down. It's important to remember that you must be holding the controls to be able to provide any input to the lunar module. So we're coming in. I'm going to just reposition myself as I approach the base. Again, I really recommend using the auto alignment assist because it will help you sort of understand the mechanics of mastering your velocity vector. Here we come. Just going to slow down a bit more. Now I'm going to use you notice I've barely used this stick at all. I use mostly orientation because I'm using the auto alignment to position myself. Now I'm going to use the left stick, pushing left to rotate around. Use that RCS on my left hand to also position myself. So it's all about mastering the velocity vector. So we come in. Now hopefully I won't mess this up after making all these big claims. And here we are. Now the overhead display will switch into landing mode as you approach to indicate where you're positioned over the base. And we come in. Now just let it drop down. And there we are. Now we're at Bravo. Now, because I have unlimited fuel on, it says unlimited up there, I haven't used any fuel, so I don't need to refuel. But now the unload button indicates that I can unload my cargo. So I press that button, and there we go. And I get my mission debriefing. Again, the amount of experience points, the amount of credits I earn is affected by the skill modifier set in the game settings. So that's basically the little tutorial that I wanted to give. Hopefully that will be useful for a lot of people. I definitely think knowing that those RCS controls are there are the key to having success. So thanks for playing Lunar Flight, and good luck.